It's time for the Lovable Me Show. Based on the award-winning book series, I Am a Lovable Me. Get ready to have some fun learning with Lovable, our resident enlightening bug. Are you ready? Close your eyes and let's count to 3. 1, 2, 3. Now open them. Here we go.
Hello and welcome to the Lovable Me Show. I'm Sharon Penchina, host and author of the award-winning I Am a Lovable Me books series for children. Let's get started right away by jumping in and featuring our weekly video vlog message. Today's vlog is about positive affirmations and how they help support children's confidence and self-esteem. But make sure you stick around after the short video plays because I have a special guest, and together we're going to find out what a growth mindset means. So don't go away. I'll be right back.
Welcome to the Lovable Me weekly vlog, where you will find valuable tools and enlightenment to support your child's self-confidence and self-esteem. Are you struggling to find ways to boost and support your child's self-confidence and self-esteem? Acquainting your child to affirmations could really create wonderful changes in their life. Affirmations are clear, concise, positive, and empowering statements to enhance self-confidence and self-esteem. Evidence-based research shows affirmations actually change the brain on a cellular level. In other words, what you think about matters a lot. Here are 4 rules to follow when creating affirmations. Your child's affirmations must be short, positive, and stated in the present tense. Be sure your child repeats their affirmations silently, preferably with their eyes closed and with strong, sincere emotion. The ideal time for your child to repeat their affirmations is as they are drifting off to sleep, and avoid affirmations containing the word don't. Some empowering self-confidence and self-esteem affirmations to help your child get started are: I am happy and cheerful. I know I'm important. I am smart. I am proud of myself. I enjoy helping others. I can do anything I focus my mind on. Affirmations are a powerful and holistic way to support your child's self-confidence and self-esteem. The positive self-beliefs developed in childhood will stay with your child throughout their life. And don't forget to check out our Lovable Me books in Apple iBooks, Amazon Kindle Books, and Google Play Books.
Welcome back. My special guest today is Alexandra Eidens. Alexandra is the co-founder of Big Life Journal. She and her team are on a great mission to help children become more resilient and to learn to believe in themselves so that they can achieve anything they want out of life. 2 years ago, Alexandra and her husband Scott created their very first growth mindset journal for kids. And since then, they've seen a tremendous success around the world with a community of over 500,000 parents and teachers. Wow, what a fantastic accomplishment, Alexandra. Welcome to the Lovable Me Show.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
Well, it's great to have you here. I'm looking forward to this conversation. You know, I feel like we have a lot in common because both of us share a similar mission. With Lovable, it's always been my hope that my books and message will convey a message to help instill inner strength by encouraging self-love and self-empowerment so that children will ultimately intuitively believe in themselves. And I noticed that you, along with Big Life Journal, speak and reference a growth mindset and resiliency. Can you start by telling us a little bit about your story and how Big Life Journal was born and what you mean by a growth mindset?
Yes, of course. So I am the co-founder. My other co-founder is my husband, Scott, as you mentioned. And about 3 years ago, when I was pregnant with our son, Michael, we sat down and had a conversation together about how we want to raise our children and what kind of skills we want to instill in them, what kind of mindset, what kind of qualities. So we had this very long conversation, and both Scott and I are very much into personal development. We have done a lot of trainings, a lot of seminars and courses, and read so many books. So we knew about the mindset and the importance of having a positive growth mindset. So we were just looking for resources to teach that to young children. And at that time, we couldn't find anything. There was, nothing that was kind of child friendly that would be a tool essentially for a parent. So we had an idea, okay, well, if it doesn't exist, let's create something. And journal was one of the kind of first ideas that we were playing around. And then, so we took this from the idea to a prototype within several months, by having a lot of research, doing a lot of research and having a lot of discussions with parents and teachers. And then we ran a crowdfunding campaign, Kickstarter, basically just to put this idea out there and see how many people are interested. So that's how it all started.
Very interesting. So is the Growth Mind Journal, what exactly is that? What does that look like? How do kids and parents utilize that?
Yes. So growth mindset was developed by Dr. Carol Dweck, and she wrote a book about this. She's a Stanford psychologist, and she has done so much research on this topic, and she's still working on this. She's doing a lot of research with children and school environment. So she wrote a book in, I believe it was 2001, so it's actually quite an old concept. And the book was called Mindset, and we always recommend anyone to read it. It's not about parenting, but it does have a chapter on children and how to instill growth mindset in children. But it's mostly about your own mindset as an individual. And what she said was, based on her research, was there are two types of mindsets. There's a growth mindset and there's a fixed mindset. And when you have a growth mindset, you essentially believe that you can always improve. So you're not born a certain way. Your brain is able to change and grow, and your skills, your talents, everything about you is changeable. And the opposite of that would be a fixed mindset, where you think that you're born a certain way and you're either smart or you're not smart. You're either good at math or you're not good at math. And that's the opposite of a growth mindset, essentially. And what she said was, based on the science, based on fundamental science of what we know about the brain, is that it's true that the brain can change, right? So there's neurogenesis and there's neuroplasticity. And the fact that it does change, and, it's just a matter of you realizing that, right? So you believing in that and you taking action and you moving towards that. So if you want to learn something and you know that your brain is capable of changing and developing this new pathways, then you are so much more empowered, in the situation of learning, and you go with it with a high confidence. So that's essentially what the growth mindset is. And when we developed journal, we incorporated growth mindset into the journal in various forms, in a very engaging manner, so kids can understand it, different activities, illustrations, and stories.
Yeah, I think the science piece is an important one, because that can be the impetus to, for someone to step forward and to seek something like this out, where they might not have before. They were sort of stuck in the mindset of, this is who I am, this is who my family is, I'm just like them, those types of, messages and stories that they tell themselves. So I think that's an important piece and element to add in when you're teaching these types of concepts. Are the parents and caregivers and teachers that connect with your mission, are they looking to raise awareness and better equip themselves to help their children? Or do you find that more and more people are connecting with you because they are, perhaps going through some challenging times with their kids? What do you find to be the driving force in, again, parents, teachers, and caregivers stepping forward and seeking, these types of tools out?
We have a lot of common issues that come up all the time when we talk to our community, and we always seek for feedback, and we always ask questions like, what are your main challenges? So the top three that come up over and over again is the kids are afraid to fail. So the parents see that tendency of the child being afraid of making a mistake. Or the other one is they are not resilient. So they give up on something very easily. They are not afraid to, they don't follow through. And the last one would be negative self-talk, is when parents start hearing from their children something that they say about themselves, which is negative, and they can't understand where it's coming from because they've never said anything like that about them. So those are kind of the common threads that we hear over and over again. And growth mindset is a very helpful tool in these situations. And even my son, who's 2.5, he started saying, I can't. And I was just so surprised by that, because first of all, where did he learn that word? I can't. We don't say that at home. And then why does he think that he can't? So, this is something that comes up in children, and and it doesn't really matter how you were raising them. It's like you could be a great parent, but there could be a point where you hear these words from your child, something that they say that I'm stupid, or I just can't do this, or I'm not smart, I can't. And so you hear all these things from them, and you just don't know what to do. So parents are kind of lost, and they're looking for resources and for tools. They're first of all, they're anxious. They're kind of worried. They're worried, right? So like, what do I do now? Because I don't want my child to think that way. I don't want him to say these words about themselves. So that's where the parents are coming from.
And I think, sometimes in those situations, we're inclined to say, ask our child why, but they really don't know why. And if they did know why, that issue wouldn't exist for them. So a lot of times, looking at the what, and to find the cause and to help them through it that way, rather than asking the question why. What benefits are you seeing as a result of using the growth mindset tools? What do you see changes that you're hearing about?
Yes. So we just last Friday, we published a poster which says what happens when someone has a growth mindset. And it has a couple circles, and you can read all about all the benefits of growth mindset. There are numerous benefits. The major ones is your child starts to welcome mistakes and learn from mistakes. And a growth mindset is very big on mistakes. So when a child starts developing a growth mindset, they start to understand that mistakes are opportunities to learn and grow. And that's where the fear of failure, starts to go away. And they start welcoming mistake. They actually, one of the tips that we give parents is to start celebrating their mistakes. So instead of, you could just make, kind of like it can be very something simple. You can give them a high five. It's like, hey, you just learned something. You look at what happened. And, you kind of turn this around conversation from negative to positive about mistakes and a failure. So they understand it's a normal process of life to fail, make a mistake. And actually it's a good thing because it means that you're learning. And there's another science piece to that, because when you make a mistake, there is a specific process happens in your brain that doesn't happen when you get things right. So your brain starts developing new pathways between the neurons when you make a mistake. So it's actually helping your brain grow. And when you explain this to children, they understand it, and they actually grasp it pretty fast. Like you can just explain it once and you will hear them saying back to you in a few days. And another benefit, they start taking on new challenges. They start trying new things. They welcome feedback, and they look for feedback as again, opportunity to learn something about themselves. They get inspired by others rather than being kind of challenged, or there's no jealousy. They're inspired by people's success, and they understand is that the other person, the other child in their class is successful because they probably took time to learn it, and they practice, and they put effort towards it. So when they understand the connection between the success and effort, there's no jealousy, because they know that that it's not just like they're born this way. I can also get there if I just work hard.
Yeah, there's the practical and the experience piece, and training up to something. And then it sounds like you're also reframing a scenario, and the story that surrounds it is a much more positive one rather than the negative. And I always find that the word, and you've mentioned this, challenge is a great way, to reframe a situation that might be looked upon as being, this is a problem, or the doom and gloom story. So reframing it, I always like the word challenge. We're challenging ourselves to meet up to something. So I think that's really important too. Can you speak, Alexandra, about resilience and how that benefits kids? What is a resilient child, and what do parents look for to sort of know they're heading in the right direction and their child is developing resiliency?
So resiliency is when you start discovering about growth mindset, you can see that resilience is always a word that's present in a context of a growth mindset, because they go together hand in hand. And basically, you could even say that growth mindset helps raise resilient kids, or helps people become more resilient. And basically what resilience is that when you, or perseverance is when you stick to task or to your goal, and you don't give up. One important thing about growth mindset is there is a misconception about growth mindset, which says that some people think that it is just try and try again. So it's a lot of effort, it's a lot of hard work, and basically growth mindset means that you just work really hard and you don't give up and you put forth a lot of effort. Whereas effort is a big part of growth mindset. But the other thing, which is also very big, is different strategies. So when you are working, when a child is working towards something and it doesn't work, and they fail over and over again, and they become very frustrated, but then they're told not to give up and to stick to it, it could backfire, because if they just using the wrong strategy, if they're just not doing the right thing from the first place, they will never succeed, and it becomes a huge frustration for them. So what Carol Dweck talks about a lot is you have to have the second piece, which is together with resilience, is that you need to try different strategies. So resilience means that it doesn't mean that you just stick to one task and see it through. It's more about a holistic approach to your goal, right? So I have this goal and this strategy didn't work. So let's try this second one. Let's try the third one. Let's ask for help. Asking for help is also a big thing. So all these different things, and that's how you can become resilient, right? So you have this goal, and on the way towards your goal, you will fail and you will make mistakes, of course, and you should understand that. But then you have all these different strategies and options that you can explore, right? So I feel like when we have this types of conversation with our kids, and when they fail at something, instead of just saying, "We'll just try again and don't give up," you can say, "Well, let's look at what you're doing, right? Like let's look at your strategy. Is this the best one?" So I think that's a very important thing to mention.
Yeah, break it down and in a sense arm them with the proper tools and for success. So I think now more than ever before in our lives, it really seems that we all need to dig a little deeper within to remain rooted in what's, most important, and be able to offer up kindness and compassion and non-judgment of others. How do you address this topic with parents and caregivers that you work with, in terms of, teaching their children to embrace diversity?
So we just had 2 weeks ago, we had a fantastic 5-day kindness challenge for children, and our entire community, which is, hundreds of people and families participated. So what we did, we developed a 5 activities that you could do every day in the course of 5 days. And those are activities that teach children about the diversity, the tolerance, and that everyone is unique in the world and there's beauty in every person. And then, other activities that teach them kindness and compassion. And we also had a wonderful empathy game. And all of this is free resources, by the way. None of that you have to purchase. Because we provide free resources to our community every week. So another game we had a couple weeks ago was empathy game. And it's a fun game that you can just print out and kind of put it together yourself at home with minimal tools. And it also teaches kids empathy, which is a fundamental quality to develop kindness and compassion when they understand feelings of other people. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of like how we support our community, right? So, and we do that because we have parents and teachers telling us that they would like some help, with raising kind kids and prevent bullying and all these different things.
Yeah, I think, now maybe more than ever before in our lifetime, it's, very prevalent. So it's great that you have that program ongoing. Can you offer up maybe 1 or 2 of the most important tips that you share with parents and caregivers based on your experience, so that they can maybe implement something right away if they choose and begin to get their children on a growth mindset path, I should say.
Yes. So the 2 ones that I usually recommend are very easy and they're fast. You can do it today. One is called the power of yet. And what it is when your child says, I can't do this, or I don't know this, the key is to add yet at the end of the sentence. And so you say, well, you can't do this yet. And we even have a poster. You can write it on the poster yourself, yet, in big letters, so they can see it in front of them all the time. And they can catch this pretty fast. They will start saying yet, and you will hear them saying yet over and over again. So, I can't do this yet. So the power of yet is a big thing in growth mindset, because what it means is that you're not fixed in this, right? So you have the potential to, if you learn, if you put forth effort, if you take the right steps, you will learn it. So the power of yet, it's very simple. Start saying yet in your family. And the second one is talking about your mistakes. And instead of just kind of, now that you realize what growth mindset is, and you might think that maybe your child has a fixed mindset, instead of kind of putting the spotlight on them now and trying to fix them, put a spotlight on yourself. And rather than, teaching them what a growth mindset is, start going through that journey from fixed mindset to growth mindset, and take them on your journey with you. So what it means is when you start talking about mistakes at home, right? And you saying, well, this is what happened today, and I just failed at this, and but it's a good thing because I learned this X, Y, Z, and I will do it differently next time. So when you have that conversation in front of them, right? So when you talk, when you go give them your examples, because modeling is the number 1 strategy, right? So you model, and you modeling the growth mindset way of thinking, you will they will start catching on the words, and they will start understanding what you're talking about pretty fast. So, kind of turning it to yourself and speaking from your experience.
Oh, I love that, because I wholeheartedly believe in the modeling concept. I think that's extremely powerful, and using the word yet, that's a good one too. I like that. In the affirmations that I offer up to children and adults when I teach it, if you can't say a statement in the affirmative, we've I always recommended, adding the words, I am steadily moving in the direction of, and that's kind of the same type of concept. So I love that. Thank you. Alexandra, I want to thank you for coming on my show and sharing your experience and wisdom with us. It was terrific. So, I hope we can do this again sometime. Thank you for being here.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, great. And I just want to leave a little reminder for the audience. Many of us have heard the phrase, we're human doings. We're not human doings. We're not human doings. We're human beings. And on that note, please remember to express your love and acceptance to your child today for simply being who they are and not for what they do. Also, please go ahead and check out all the I Am a Lovable Me books today. You can get them in hardcover or as audio iBooks. These are great tools to help empower your children. And before we leave, I just want to remind you, you'll never miss any of our great shows by liking us on Facebook or subscribing to us on YouTube or following us on Periscope. You can check out, again, all the Lovable Me books by clicking on the Learn More button at the very end of this show. If you have a topic and you think parents and caregivers will want to hear about that and would like to be a guest on my show, please message me on Facebook. I'm your host, Sharon Penchina, and I'll be back next week with another special guest to talk about emotional literacy, along with more great self-empowerment tips for you. Thank you for joining in, and be sure you have a beautiful day.
Thank you for watching The Lovable Me Show. Also, if you have any questions for Lovable, go ahead and ask away. Don't forget to visit us next week, right here in the Facebook bugler.